Welcome back to American Agenda. We are awaiting Iran's imminent attack against Israel. This after Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was killed in Iran last week. Now, that was retaliation after a missile fired by Hezbollah killed 12 Israeli children playing soccer in the Golan Heights.
That's right. The U.S. general in charge of American forces in the Middle East arrived in the region on Saturday to help prepare to respond to any Iranian aggression. And I think we're going to have some guests in to talk about it right now.
That's right. We have the perfect guests, of course, very knowledgeable to help us discuss. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer and Air Force Special Operations Commander Glenn Ignazio. Gentlemen, just since the beginning of the show, a lot has been happening. We have updates. There were rockets fired at a U.S. base in Iraq. We know that the Saudis had said they will not allow any Iranian missiles to fly over their airspace. We're hearing that the Iranian president is in talks with a Putin ally, calling for expanded ties with Russia. So we hear very much from the U.S. government that there's no concern about a larger war. But when we hear this, just as an American and as a journalist, Tony, it's hard for me to believe that. It sounds like things are absolutely ramping up in a very dangerous way.
They are, and I've described it as the Joe Biden administration is now driving a clown car, and there are passengers in it. They're not at the wheel, and I'm saying that to be provocative, but clear. At this point, Joe Biden was upset with Netanyahu regarding their assassination of the Hamas and Hezbollah leader. At the same time, he's reaching out to the Iranians, begging them to not retaliate. There's no way that the United States has any influence over the events that are about to happen, which is sad. Now, Putin is actually sending more weapons to Tehran. We see a continued series of attacks, as you just mentioned, in Iran and Iraq. We have the militia shooting at our forces on the ground there. Those elements, those Iranian militia, are funded by Iran. We have the Houthi, we have the Hamas, we have Hezbollah, all working together. So at this point, I don't think we're going to see an actual offensive attack from Iran against the Israelis today. But I do think they are weighing their options, and you will see a major response from the assassination of the Hamas leader in Tehran, which happened, incidentally, during their presidential inauguration. I think that response will come sometime this week against the Israelis.
Yeah, and the latest reports right now are that Biden and Harris are in the Situation Room inside the White House, working over some type of game plan. Also, former President Trump just a little while ago said that an attack on Israel is imminent, according to the knowledge that he's been able to gain. Glenn, what do you think this looks like, this potential response from Iran? And also talk about the Biden and Harris administration, their involvement. I also think it's interesting. Biden drops off the ticket. He's not fit to run anymore, but now he's making major decisions that could decide what could boil into a major war in the Middle East.
Yeah, I have to agree with Tony on all of his points. And additionally to this administration, you know, you have Kamala walking around acting like the president already as far as her rhetoric and actually her positions on things. So I also have to agree with Tony that I don't see this administration doing anything that's significant. We just had another attack on al-Assad base. And last time we had to take 140 attacks and unfortunately lose 3 soldiers before we did any response ourselves. We are seeing the Houthis increase where they shot down an MQ-9 Reaper drone the other day. And I do agree that the tentacles of Iran's reach, which is Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, are going to be combined to do an operation like this against Israel. Again, the United States really will be a defensive nature, and that's one of the reasons why carrier groups are getting into the area to protect Israel. But I think this administration has to get out of Israel's way. It's pretty much taken a position that they have to ask permission for us, and that's absolutely out of control.
Interesting point there. Tony, we know that Iran's terrorist proxy groups are likely to potentially join together. We know that Hezbollah is very, very large compared to Hamas or the Houthis. Do you think there will be a coordinated response? Do you think it will solely be in Israel? Do you think they could possibly target places here in the United States to make a larger statement? How do you see this coming together? And as you said, you anticipate it will play out this week.
I think Glenn is correct. I think you're going to see a concerted, well-planned effort by Iran to do something simultaneously across the board. Their last response of the drones that was the most expensive fireworks show in history. I mean, it was like $2 billion of ordnance going back and forth. That's not the answer this time. This time, they want to inflict pain. This is all about the fact that Tehran was embarrassed by the Israelis when the Israelis were able to conduct the assassination in Tehran in the middle of a presidential inauguration. This is hugely bad for the Iranians, and that means that they're going to look for real blood this time. And I don't think they're going to look to the Israeli homeland. I think they're going to go after Israeli concerns, and we are still a target. Blaine Holt always says that the southwest border has allowed for operatives from all flavors, to include Iran, to come across. I think there's a good chance we will see something happen against targets the Iranians have said they want to go. They've talked about targeting former Secretary of State, oh my goodness, I'm having a Joe Biden moment. Yeah, oh my God, former director of CIA. But anyway, Mike Pompeo, my friend Mike, and they've targeted others. No, I know. It's like, no, I know, Mike. It's like, it's embarrassing. But no,
It happens too.
They
You know, what's his name?
Yeah.
Bad. Yeah, that's right. So there you go.
All right, we got to leave it there. Glenn Ignacio, Colonel Tony Shaffer, gentlemen, thanks for coming on. Stop back
Thank you.
anytime.
Appreciate
You
it.
bet. Thanks.
All right. And coming up, New York.